Hello, Snakeo here with another figure review. Today we have got the Batman Arkham Knight Red Hood GameStop exclusive. This figure is actually only available at GameStop, so unfortunately you would not be able to find them at a parallel universe where I've got my previous ones, and I am currently waiting for my Harley Quinn to arrive, so bear with me for her. Now, I knew this figure was coming out, but I didn't know it was a GameStop exclusive until I actually watched JC's review of him and actually said about that. Shortly after doing that, I went on the website and I placed my order for him, and he arrived today. Now I'm going to give you some heads up as for a British buyer. GameStop do ship to the UK and it only cost $14.99 postage, which roughly translates using Google currency converter to about £10. About $9.57 to be precise. The figure itself cost $24.99, which again roughly converts to £15.96. So you're going to pay about £25 to get him shipped from GameStop to here, which is not a bad price for a figure, to be honest. But be forewarned, as soon as he arrived in the UK, and I must admit the time frame was very impressive, I then had to pay an additional import and customs charge with UPS. They wanted to charge me about £20. I wasn't impressed with that. After some communication with them and GameStop, I managed to convince UPS to bring it down, and they said there was an error and it was supposed to be only £7. So that's what I ended up paying on top of that. So for a total, I have paid nearly £35 for this one figure. I'm a little bit annoyed that I've paid so much for just one figure of this scale. Really wasn't expecting to pay that much, and I feel a bit cheated by UPS for these damn custom charges. I don't see why we need to be charged custom fees just to get a parcel from another state. It's just an excuse to bill people. It's annoying. It's almost like a tax on a tax almost, you know. But whatever. Anyway, that's my little gripey bit out of the way, so I do apologise. But just forewarning, like I said, if you do purchase this guy from GameStop, be forewarned you will probably have to pay a customs charge on it. Now, on to the actual character. I'm not going to go into any spoilers about his character whatsoever. For those who haven't actually read the comics on this, I do think that this is a really cool rendition of how he looks, and I'm very excited to see him in game. I hope he doesn't have a cameo. I hope he's going to be a playable character, or at least have a really decent part in the actual game. But we shall see, as the game is not out yet, and I cannot wait for that. So what do you think of the actual action figure? I gotta say, DC Collectables are up in their game more and more. They're getting so good with these figures. These latest ones, or these Arkham Knight figures, are probably the best I've actually ever seen. The Arrow figures are good, but these ones just seem to knock them out of the park. Gripe-wise, apart from the custom charge, don't really think I've got any. Maybe a slight, I wish I had a bit more in his hip articulation, but apart from that, really satisfied with his figure. There's a kind of a nitpick, but it's not a major, and I understand why, but I'll show you that in a bit. So, let's have a closer look at this figure and his accessories, but first, let's have a look at the packaging. Okay, so you can see here we have the packaging. It's exactly the same as the others. You have the Batman Arkham Knight here, DC Collectables, some warning there, and then kind of like armor chunks on the side, big open window, and an open window on the actual side here, and it says Red Hood. Now, I believe, if I remember rightly, with the other ones, it says here a number 1 to 4 for the 1 to 4 figures, but this one just says GameStop exclusive figure. Take a look at this side, you see kind of a bit more of that armor, and then this side you have that digital kind of image of the figure, and again it says Batman Arkham Knight Red Hood GameStop exclusive DC Collectables. Looking at the top, you can see the chest plate to Batman's armor there. And then scrolling around to the back, you can see the other figures in Series 1, 2, 3 and 4. We have him, she's on the way. He's not going to be released until September, so I'm told by Mr. Stacy, who is the guy in charge of a parallel universe. DC Collectables down there. It says sculpted by Gentle Giant Studios. And then on the bottom you can see some other barcodes and warnings and whatnot. And inside you can see a picture of the actual Batmobile in red. So let's have a closer look at the actual figure and his accessories. Okay, so having a close look at his pistols. These things are massive, and I mean absolutely humongous. Here we have Deathstroke's Magnum, the Desert Eagle pistol, which comes with him, and look at the size difference when we put them actually side by side. It's crazy. Look how massive this thing is. They're both identical. They're really nice. Have some great paint apps to them. Why is my camera going so wavy? Some really great paint apps to them. And they have this really nice kind of brown handle, which has a nice texture. Great silver throughout. And as you see, there's a little bat symbol there. And there's a red here at the top. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be a bullet release or just a bit of deco, because it doesn't have any sculpt, just a splodge of paint. Have a little bit of black going under here with silver there. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a different weapon in a weapon or just a flashlight or a laser sight. I'm not too sure. Won't know, of course, till we actually play the game. But in all, these things are absolutely massive, really well painted, really well sculpted, and they look freaking awesome. Only nitpick is he doesn't have anywhere to store them apart from in his actual hands. I might customise something maybe on his back belt or something to add these, although general holsters aren't going to work, so I'm probably going to have to make something from scratch. We shall see. Stay tuned for that. Okay, so having a close-up look at the actual figure, you can see here that he does sport a red hoodie with his red mask under this black and white leather jacket. It's very, very cool, and you can actually see the individual layers in the hoodie and the actual jacket, plus his shirt underneath with the armour. Very, very, very cool. We'll go into that in a bit more detail. Now, the nitpick I said earlier is his hood. It's a bit warped when I got mine out of the packet. You can see it kind of leans to that one side. And if you do any kind of articulation in the head, much like you can do with Arrow, where you can kind of turn the hood and like it just kind of turns the head. Well, I tried that same trick with the red hood here, and first thing that happened was pop. This came off straight away. So even when you go back or whatever, it comes off straight away, as it's very, very gently glued here. It's an easy fix, but the reason I didn't fix it is because I wanted to show you that on camera so you guys can be prepared. So if you do put it down, get a good look at that helmet, it will more than likely come off. And you probably could just take the hood off altogether if you didn't want it on there, although it kind of defeats the purpose of the character's name. While we've got it down, you can see the actual full sculpt of that helmet, and it does look absolutely awesome. Very kind of almost anime-ish though, if you ask me, with the no eye holes, kind of got his eye lines, and like these maybe breathing apparatuses, or like the jaw line is locked in. I don't know, very, very curious to see how this character is going to evolve in the game. Very excited to see that as well. But I would say the helmet is really, really well done, and it has this nice kind of glossy kind of red to it. There's really crimsonness to it. Really stoked about it, and it just looks absolutely amazing. All those details, you can see even there's a little bit of grey at the back of there. Now with the hood up, like I said, this just attached to the actual jacket. Now you see this one here is actually unpegged from the shoulder, so doing well with this. So the jacket is definitely a separate piece, and more than likely probably removable if you unpeg that one, which I haven't actually done yet. This one just came straight out. But you can see there that there's kind of like a harness going around his chest. And you can see that there's a bat symbol is roughly painted actually on his chest there, which looks very kind of, although it's kind of pointy, but maybe not more like the bat symbol, maybe more like the Arkham symbol. I'm not too sure. This guy might be an ally for Arkham, for the Arkham Knight. We shall see. But continuing on with the actual look of the figure, you can see here you've got some white shoulder pads there which go down onto the arms, which do look really nice. Generally neat. There's a little bit of a bleed there, but it's very minimal. This side's much better. And you've got some, like, I don't know, kind of blurry lines on the actual neck there of like a top underneath. And then he's got definitely some kind of chest armor here. Now, this is very, very kind of like scruffy painted, and it's got like lines going in it and markings throughout it, so it does look very, very cool. Continuing down a bit more on the torso, you can see there's like a big old scratch which has been like duct taped closed, and there's loads of like bits on his belt. We've got grenades there, maybe some bullets there, I'm not too sure. Ball on those pockets and pouches on his jacket, and the white bit on his elbow there of his jacket. Now, I don't know why it's coming up camera, but there's a nice kind of like blue wash into the sleeves of the jacket. Not so much on the coat, it is there, but it's not as visible. But it does give it some nice texture and highlights that extra sculpt. It's really well done. The hoodie seems to be a very solid red, very bright solid red. Not much going on with it. You got like a little bit of a pull cord here and here sculpted, but again, no real paint detail on it. The gloves look really good, great texture, great paint apps, and great sculpt on them. And then you can see on his actual legs, he's got these kind of ammo pockets where you can just kind of auto feed. You can just like grab the gun and go, and you'll load up a new clip. Clever, and it should be easily done. So that means you can keep shooting and reloading at the same time. Now the trousers are kind of like a dark, I'd say like a dark grey, maybe with like a light bright, I can't speak, with a light brown dry brush on them. They look really nice. Nice sculpting, really nice detail on them. A lot going on in there. Then continuing down to these shin guards, you can see that there is a lot of scratches and scrapes on there, and a little bit of protection on the actual boots there. General kind of like little like brush strokes here to show the inkling of markings of battle and damage and everything. Boots really nice sculpt, and the little armor protection is also really nice sculpt. Quick look at the side, you can see these just strapped around the trousers. One thing I think they may have messed up, and I'm not sure, is it looks like the trousers just seem to go into the shoe. So I don't know if these are supposed to be boots going up to here, or if these are trousers going straight into the shoe. It just looks a bit weird. I'm not sure about that, because they're definitely two different colours and definitely two different sculpts. If this is supposed to be a tool boot, then it should be smooth. If this is supposed to be a trouser going to a shoe, then there should be some kind of like rufflage at the end of the trouser. Yeah, Garrett, fair enough, if they did that it would hinder the sculpt, but it also kind of breaks the illusion a little bit. Taking a look at the back of the figure again, you can see all those straps going around for the actual leg braces, and what they've cleverly done is they've gone through the joint, but they did continue kind of like the sculpt ever so slightly on the actual base of the joint there. So it's very, very well done. Continuing up, you can see underneath his coat there is like what maybe appears to be some more grenades, and you really see that brown pop in there from the trousers like I mentioned. Of course you've got some pockets there and the back of the ammo clips. Having a look at the back of the jacket, you can see there's like a tear in the actual jacket which looks like it's been stapled shut, and again that bat symbol's got kind of like very, very roughly spray painted on there. There is different textures in the actual red. I don't know how well it's coming over on camera. The glare's a bit there. You can kind of see it there if I lift the light off a little bit, where the edges here is a bit darker, and this one almost looks like there's blood splatter from the scratch going that way, and then it's been painted on top, or rather there's blood come from the scratch kind of splattered in this direction onto the actual marking. Very, very cool, very interesting. And of course he does have this white design going up. Looks like there's a little bit of red here, so I don't know if it's supposed to have like a red highlight, I'm not too sure. But it does look very, very cool. You can see there in the sleeve you've got the hoodies inside the actual jacket, which I think is a nice addition. Don't know if that's a separate piece or not, or if it's just painted really well, but it does look very, very good. Then of course at the back of the jacket you can see the collar going round, and then the back of the hoodie. All in all, very, very well done. No like I said textures or any painting in the actual hoodie, but there is a lot of sculpt in there, and you can see some definitive bumps and ripples. Okay, size comparison. The red hood stands to the top of his hood. We're looking just shy of 7 inches. standing next to Batman from the Arkham Knight. As you can see, Batman does tower him, but it's not overly massive. Like, for the top of the hood, it's probably just shy of the top of his head. Definitely his shoulders are a lot more prominent and higher. Standing next to the Scarecrow, you can see again, Scarecrow is a smidgen higher, but not massively. Okay, articulation. Now the head, like I said, if you do move it within the hood, it will tear the hood off. So try and move it from the chin if you can. Probably the best bit, as the most part sticking out. But you can go down that much, up that much, pivot from there to there, and you can probably rotate around 360 degrees, but you are a little bit hindered by the collar and by the actual collar of the hood. Shoulders are on hinges and they can go around 360 degrees. The jacket, like I said earlier, is a complete soft rubber, doesn't hinder the articulation at all. They can go out that much, and thank you DC Collectables, we have a bicep cut of 360 degrees just here. Works brilliantly. Keep these coming. He has a double elbow. Now when it's completely straight, it kind of does go a little bit up, which is a bit meh, but when it's fully bent, you can get to about there. It's pretty good. He has a wrist rotation of 360 degrees and a hinge. We can go up from there, down from there. One thing I want to add to the wrist, they kind of look like they're a bit out too much. They kind of look like just kind of a bit there. I don't know if that makes sense, but they kind of curve a bit. They don't feel like they're snug, but it does really help the articulation. So that's a good thing in my eyes. He has an ab crunch, which kind of looks like a diaphragm joint like that, but no, it is an ab crunch. And you can go down really far. Oh, and back. Probably further, but the coat's kind of hindering it to there, because the coat's kind of snagging. But if I undid on the snag, I might be able to go even further. No, that looks like the limit, so from there. But as you notice, painted underneath. Well done, DC. Ow! That hurt. Okay, so we have a waist cut. Doesn't feel like a ball joint like the Scarecrow, so definitely just a waist cut. And yeah, you can go 360 around there. T-cut hips. Now, like I said, I did wish there was more articulation-y, so you can do a Spartan, going all the way back to there, of that. And a split. Now this is where the worst part comes in, of just that. So I guess respectable, but you know, these guys are supposed to be martial art characters. I do really wish you'd get those up. It's mainly due to this. Now this is a soft rubber, but it still snags. When you lift it up, see it's snagging there. You could probably potentially pop it up and maybe make it go higher, but I don't know how well that would work. Might experiment and see. He has fire rotation. Just underneath these straps there's a joint which rotates around 360 degrees, and like I said, this is soft rubber, so it doesn't get in the way at all. Then has a double bend in the knee of that. Bit chunky, but still not terrible looking. And as you see, his knee pad is part of his shin, so we'll go with it. And then he has a ankle point from there to there, and then a pivot from there to there. Now, one thing I wish DC Collectables do would kind of make their pivots maybe go a bit further in the direction of the toe, because these seem to go almost, well, like down at that angle. If they went more at that angle, if they could, then you'd get more and better articulation at better angles. But all in all, great articulation. Now I'm just going to show you quickly to get his guns in his hands. Really simple. If you've had any figure with any guns, you should know how to put a gun in a hand, but they go in really well, and he holds them both very, very snug. Okay, so final thoughts. Would I recommend this figure? To be honest, without even hesitating, yes. This figure is really great. He has great sculpt, great articulation, some pretty damn cool guns. Looks absolutely awesome. Really well painted. Yeah, minor nitpicks, like I said, I wish he had some holsters for his pistols, and I wish he had a bit better articulation in his hips, and I wish that hood maybe was a bit firmer attached. But apart from that, cannot recommend this figure enough. Such a cool figure, really happy I have him. Just like I said at the start of my video, please be aware of any import charges if you are buying from Gamestop coming to the UK, guys. Anyway, guys, that is my time. Please check out my partner in crime, Mephitsu Archives. There is a link in the description below. I'll put also a link in the description below for JC's review of this figure in case you want to check out his comparison to the new 52 Red Hood. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please drop me a like down below. Please leave any comments you'd like to add about this figure on my channel. And as usual, guys, thanks for watching. Keep collecting, and I'm going to catch you in my next one. Bye-bye.